Hi, I'm Janie Crawford from Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God. I currently live in Eatonville, Florida. I'm 40 years old, and I've been through a lot. I've been married 3 times. The first marriage was set up by my nanny, who I was raised by. My mother and father were never around. She arranged the first marriage to Logan Killix. I was only a teenager at the time, so he was a lot older than I was, but he disgusted me, quite frankly. He was so much older than I was. He was in his 40s when I was a teenager, and my nanny did have the best intention in mind for me. Even though I had never seen an example of a good marriage, she had never been married either. She did not choose the right man for me. I left him a little while later for Joe Starks. Joe made me feel like I was on top of the world, and he promised it to me too. He told me I was going to be well taken care of. He was the mayor of Eatonville, Florida, once we moved down there. He became the mayor after he was voted in, and he also was an entrepreneur at a store. He owned the store, and he had me work in it, even though he promised me a life of luxury. He said that I was not allowed to leave the store while I was working, and he told me that I wasn't allowed to put my hair down because he was jealous of the other men who would look at it. He told me that I was not allowed to take off my apron while I was working, which made me feel like a slave to him, like I was oppressed. He was getting older. We were about the same age, but he had died young of liver disease. I spent his last moments with him, but I knew that that was also not the ideal marriage. I wasn't allowed to leave Eatonville. I had to go and tell him everywhere I was going, and I knew that's not what that kind of marriage was supposed to be. And so once he died, TEWWG came around. TEWWG was 15 years younger than I was. He had walked through the town and happened to come into the store. He said that he was going to play guitar for me. He was going to give me the world also, which, judging by my first 2 husbands, you can see I made the wrong decision. He told me that he would give me a life of luxury. He would take care of me, so to speak. He only beat me once. Joe beat me a couple times. I was in love with TEWWG. I thought I was. And everyone was happy for me because I seemed happy. I knew that once TEWWG had died, we had survived a hurricane together, and he got bit by a rabid dog. I knew that he was just like my first 2 husbands. He did not treat me like I was supposed to be treated, and my friend Phoebe once told me that everybody's got to do 2 things for themselves. They've got to go to God, and they've got to find out about living for themselves. And I figured out that in my 3 marriages, I was not living for myself. Now I'm doing that at 40 years old, Eatonville, living by myself. Now that I've been through all that I've been through, I've realized that I've got to live for myself, and I've got to live for God. And so I figured that out in my 3 marriages and through all that I've been through. Now that I'm nearing the end of my life, I've realized that it's not death that I fear, it's misunderstanding. And I've been misunderstood my entire life, from being the prettiest girl in the class because I was light-skinned to being made fun of for that same fact. I've learned a lot through who I am as a person and as a character, and I've realized that I have to live for myself, like Phoebe said, and I've got to live for God.